This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Just as we expected automakers to start doing, Hyundai is going to spread tariff costs across its entire lineup in the U.S. Bloomberg reports that it's going to raise the suggested retail price on all of its vehicles by 1% and will also likely increase destination charges. The average transaction price in the U.S. last month was just a shade under $50,000, so that 1% increase would be $500, and that's before you tack on any of the other new fees. But the price hikes will only be applied to newly built models, not the ones already in inventory, which means that Hyundai can probably stay true to its previous pledge to keep prices the same until June 2nd. Other automakers have made similar promises, but if the tariffs stick around, we expect more to follow in Hyundai's footsteps. And speaking of the tariffs, yesterday we reported that BMW, Mercedes, and VW are in talks with the U.S. over a possible trade deal. And as a quick little follow-up to that, VW CEO Oliver Blume confirmed that he's, quote, been in regular dialogue with the administration and says the company will make massive investments in the U.S. But he didn't say what those investments would be yet or when they'll happen. But we think they'll involve building more models in the U.S., and Volvo will probably do the same. With the S60 sedan being discontinued in the U.S., Volvo only builds the EX90 and the Polestar 3 at its plant in South Carolina. That plant has the capacity to build roughly 150,000 vehicles a year. But according to Automotive News, it made less than 9,000 examples last year. Plus, Volvo issued a work stoppage at the plant last week due to an unknown part shortage, which is going to hurt output even more. So, with so much extra capacity in South Carolina, it's very likely that Volvo fills it with new models, which will also reduce its reliance on imports as well as its vulnerability to the tariffs. And those tariffs, plus tougher competition in China, is why S&P just lowered Volvo's credit rating. And it looks like General Motors expects South Korea to make a deal to lower tariffs. The automaker's chief financial officer, Paul Jacobson, said GM is going to take a wait-and-see approach before making a decision on the vehicles it imports from South Korea, which are being hit with 25% tariffs. Jacobson says GM doesn't want to rush a long-term change because he thinks it's likely that the tariffs are going to be lowered. GM imports the Chevy Trax and Trailblazer, along with the Buick Envista and Encore GX from South Korea. One of the great points that came up on the latest Autoline After Hours was the impact on Tesla if the U.S. Congress waters down or eliminates the EPA CO2 standards on cars. Tesla counts on selling ZEV credits to legacy automakers who come up short on CO2 emissions. In the last 5 quarters alone, it collected over $3.3 billion. And in the first quarter of this year, Tesla would have lost money if not for those credits. So if Congress waters down or eliminates the CO2 regs, it's going to have a significant impact on Tesla's earnings. And by the way, that show also dove into which U.S. assembly plants are in deep trouble thanks to the tariffs and the elimination of EV subsidies. And you can watch that all right now on the Autoline website or on our YouTube channel.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
If Congress approves a bill to remove EV incentives, Ford says it puts a battery plant it's building in Michigan at risk. Earlier this month, the House of Representatives passed a bill that eliminates tax credits for new and used EVs and imposes a $250 annual fee on EVs for road repairs. The bill would also restrict tax credits for batteries if they use components or technology from Chinese companies or if they're made under a license agreement. The bill now needs to be approved by the Senate, and if it does pass Congress, Ford Chairman Bill Ford says it will imperil its battery plant in Michigan because it's going to use technology from Chinese battery makers CATL. The plant, which is 60% complete, is currently expected to start production next year. And speaking of CATL, the company says it made a breakthrough with LMB or lithium metal batteries. LMBs are being considered because of their high energy density. However, they've been difficult to commercialize because of their short life cycle. But CATL says it's been able to double the lifespan of prototypes by using a different type of liquid electrolyte. And these prototypes have an energy density of over 500 watt-hours per kilogram, which is higher than solid-state batteries and more than double some NMC batteries, which typically have energy densities around 200 to 300 watt-hours per kilogram. And while CATL's research is promising, LMBs still need more development before they're ready to be used in electric vehicles. The Chinese auto industry has been on a tear for more than a decade, but now it's starting to run into some serious problems. The industry has way too much capacity. Thanks to the price war, fewer companies are profitable, and the export boom is slowing down as countries retaliate against the flood of Chinese cars. The chief of Great Wall Motors even warns that the Chinese auto industry is unhealthy and faces a crisis similar to the Evergrande collapse that devastated the Chinese real estate market. That prompted BYD, which has a very high debt level, to lash out against Great Wall, saying it doesn't face any crisis at all. And when car companies start dissing each other in the public, it's a sign that big problems lie ahead. Alfa Romeo's shift away from going all electric looks like it's going to delay the launch of the next-gen Stelvio. The all-new version was supposed to be revealed at the end of this year and then go on sale in the first quarter of next year. But now sources say that may not happen until the fourth quarter of 2026. The Stelvio will switch to the Stella Large platform, and the brand is also developing a hybrid version now. The model was supposed to be all electric, and it sounds like that hybrid development is what's causing the delays. Speaking of Stellantis brands, Jeep says that the all-new Cherokee, which will be offered as an ICE, a plug-in hybrid, or a pure electric, will make its debut later this year. So stay tuned for that. But that's a wrap for today's show and this week, and I hope that you have a great weekend.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Intrepid Control Systems. Over-the-air engineering boost your game. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.